My Tesla was so good that I ordered another one. Although I actually ordered this one first, then decided I wanted a performance version, but then decided to keep this Tesla despite already receiving my performance, and I gave this other one to my wife. Tesla is the future of automobile. I am not entirely sure about EVs yet. I need more experience driving more of them, nor am I sure if every EV manufacturer will be able to work out about just what it is about Tesla that makes it the future. Is it the fact it's fully electrified? Is it that it's a computer on wheels? The additional range they offer? Is it the instant power from all that torque? Is it the added safety? Is it the fact it can drive itself? We don't know yet, as the market is not close to saturated. But currently, most of the EV manufacturers are betting on only one of those futuristic qualities from a Tesla, the fact it's fully electric. Yet there is so much more to a Tesla than it just being electric, which I can now say from first-hand experience. There's definitely a certain magic that a Tesla creates that I've not yet seen replicated elsewhere. I've spoken to some people who have friends that own Porsche Taycans, and supposedly they are pretty amazing, but we also know that they are significantly more expensive than a Tesla, and the specs still don't come close to a Plaid. Anyway, this new Tesla I bought was a standard range Model 3 with every single upgradable option. It was also the version that had the longer range, yet still the quicker to 0-60 time. I believe it has a 60 kilowatt hour battery pack now, but this battery pack is an LFP battery pack. Yes, I finally got to test what LFP batteries are like after discussing how important they are to Tesla's success and the future of the EV industry. Actually, my wife had this car for about a week until I eventually decided to go and test drive it. This is because any time driving her Tesla meant it was time I was not spending in my Tesla. And considering how amazing mine is, I didn't want to waste a moment not driving it if I didn't have to. But yes, finally after a week, I decided to give it a little test drive down the road to see what it was actually like. Now, given that I'm going from the performance version with about 450 horsepower to the standard version with only about 280 horsepower, then I'd already lowered my expectations somewhat. This is a major discrepancy in power. So I was prepared for it, as I realized it was going to be a lot less of a car. But it was at least going to be interesting to see just how much of the wow factor of my car was due to it being a Tesla and how much of it was the performance version. As I said, this version was fully optioned, which meant it had the red paint and the white interior. Although I think I prefer mine in black, it's still nice experiencing the other version of the product. The white interior has a lot of impact and does still feel like the future and sporty, along with all the minimalism, whereas my interior felt a bit more refined. I do like mine more, but the white is still very cool. I think the only difference these days from the standard to the performance is that the performance has the larger, more powerful battery, dual motor four-wheel drive, upgraded brakes, larger wheels, and a rear spoiler. Everything else is the same standard. I'm pretty sure even the stereo is the same. In other words, the standard range is still a very high specification. Well, standard range plus I should say, as the plus is what adds these extras. Although now it's referred to as the rear-wheel drive version anyway. Yes, Tesla went rear-wheel drive, not front. I really am not a fan of front-wheel drive. Rear-wheel drive is a much better powertrain for a driver's car. Due to my penchant of German cars, I'm also more used to driving rear-wheel drive. But I also get to see how much of my Tesla's amazing handling was due to it being all-wheel drive and how much due to Tesla. Anyway, I just thought I'd take it down the road for a quick review and test to see just how much better my performance was. But I was actually shocked. And remember, I'm also spoiled at this stage with the performance version, but I was still shocked. Shocked at not how much better the performance was than the standard, but how close to the performance the standard still came. This car was still quick, with instant power whenever you touch the accelerator. As a result, I then decided to extend my test drive from down the road to the motorway, and then a hardcore test drive around some windy hills. This car was so much fun, it handled superbly around the corners. There was enough power to feel and appreciate the entire drive. However, power that I could handle easily compared to my performance, which can be a little bit too powerful at times. The standard version was perfect. Perfect amount of power and handling. This is driving speeds of around 50 to 70 miles an hour, where there's still plenty of torque at that range. I would guess that if I was driving much more over 70 miles an hour, then the power wouldn't be quite there as much as you'd like. But that's probably not necessary for most everyday driving. In fact, the best analogy I've come up with is for those of you who've played Nintendo's Mario Kart. When you're driving normally, it's like the standard version, and then the performance version is like when you collect a star that gives you invincibility, and your car becomes that much faster and handles better, but almost too fast to handle. Basically, if I had bought a standard range, then I would have been perfectly content, And this is with LFP batteries, CATL's LFP batteries. The handling was superb. The LFP version is actually almost 200 pounds lighter than the performance too. This might have something to do with the weight saving the car gets from having structural battery packs, which the LFP version is currently using, and partly why Tesla are able to achieve such great ranges with their LFP batteries compared to everyone else. In a few years, Tesla will be able to make these standard Model 3s with their own in-house LFP batteries and front and rear die-casts. They will be exceptional. If Tesla is already this good now, and then likely all the weight saving and improved handling to come, it will be amazing. Of course, costs of producing these Model 3s by then will be a lot less too, meaning that Tesla will eventually reduce the prices once the supply is increased. If Tesla ever got the price of these cars down to $35,000 again, then that would be unbelievable value. I think that would easily be affordable enough to attract $25,000 ICE customers, given the savings from the cost of owning a Tesla, and the extra sacrifices consumers would be willing to make to afford a Tesla. I would say there's a good chance Tesla can get the price down that low, maybe still with even $10,000 gross margin by then, and I'm not even adding in FSD. We may look at this car as the slow Tesla, but compared to the average ICE vehicles, it is still generally very quick. LFP is going to have a big future. All that needs to be done is work out how to improve energy density slightly more. If Tesla can get to 300 miles of range with LFP, then that's going to be the sweet spot. I'm fairly sure Tesla can get to 300 miles with LFP for the Model 3. We're already at 267 miles now. Only about 10% more range required with Tesla's in-house LFP batteries and other weight-saving techniques. If Tesla can get the Model Y to about 280 miles with LFP too, then that is how the Model Y will sell millions a year. Anyway, I was shocked at how impressive the standard range version is. As some of you know, I've only ever driven the performance versions before. I haven't driven a long-range version either, but I get the impression they would also be outstanding. Although I do like the rear-wheel drive factor with the standard version too. I've not driven any other LFP versions of electric cars yet, but will do the first opportunity I get. I'd really love to see just what BYD and XPeng are achieving. LFP definitely has a bright future of electric cars. The issue is getting enough range and performance from the iron-based batteries, as the energy density is not as good as nickel. Therefore, the other EVs are either adding too many batteries in the EVs to get enough range, which really affects performance, or the EVs don't have enough batteries and offer inadequate range. To experience what the Chinese EVs are doing will really give a solid foundation as to how Tesla compares to everyone else. I mean, on paper BYD and XPeng are nothing close to Tesla, but some of the reviews I see are quite good. Then again, so are the electric Hyundai reviews, and the Ioniq 5 was not a good car to drive. This is what makes Tesla so special. Tesla have worked out how to offer a reasonable range with LFP whilst also providing great performance. I've tried to explain this many times, but I'm not sure everyone understands it, or they just say the Chinese are doing it too. No one is close, and it's not an easy task. Not to mention Tesla will leapfrog their own specifications when they introduce their own in-house LFP batteries. I think Tesla are researching form factors and sizes for their LFP batteries that are able to generate the most range. It's not just that iron costs less than nickel, it's also the fact that the world has a lot more iron than it does nickel. And as I keep saying, the world needs a lot of batteries. But wow, if I'm this impressed and excited by a new Model 3 standard range that will have Tesla's in-house LFP batteries, what would a new performance model be like with 4680 batteries? Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.